Okay, welcome back. We're going to do a lesson today on solving angles, and we're going to use what we know about equations and solving equations in order to find angles. Okay, so let's just go ahead and start out with a very simple straight line. A straight line does have an angle. When we think of angles, we think of, like a crocodile's mouth, but there's also an angle in a straight line. So if I measure from here all the way to the other side right here, this line is actually 180 degrees. Okay? We measure angles in degrees. So this line, any line that is horizontal, or if we have a straight line up and down by itself, that would also be measured at 180 degrees. Another angle I'm going to show you today is, it's like an L shape. It's called the right angle. And in math, in order to show it's a right angle, there will be a little box. This just means this is completely perpendicular, like an L. This is straight up and down, and this line is horizontal. So this angle from this line to this line is 90 degrees. Okay? So right angle usually just shows a box, and then you're going to have to know that that means 90 degrees. But here I wrote that for you. If you go back to the line with 180 degrees, if you split that in half, up and down, you'd have 90 degrees on this side and 90 degrees on this side. Okay? 90 plus 90 equals 180. Okay? So there's a straight line is 180 degrees, and then a right angle is 90 degrees. Okay, so this is what we're going to be doing. You're going to see a line, and then another line kind of shooting out from it. I'm going to give you an angle of one of the angles. So we have the straight line, and then we have this other line coming up. That is 60 degrees on one side. I'm going to ask you, what is that angle on the other side? So using what we know about a straight line, from this side all the way over here is 180 degrees. So I'm going to take that question mark, and if I add it to that 60 degrees, I'm going to get a straight line, which is 180 degrees. Let me fix that. So this unknown angle plus this 60 degrees will give me equal to 180 degrees. So we can put x in for 60. That will be our x in for the question mark. That is my variable, plus 60 equals 180. There's my equation. So remember, when we solve for x, we're going to use the inverse operation. The inverse operation, or the opposite operation, would be to subtract. So I have plus 60, so I'm going to subtract 60 from both sides of the equation. I'm going to get x equals 180 minus 60, which is 120 degrees. So this unknown, we do now know what that angle is. It is 120 degrees. So I need to go back and check. If I plug in 120 for x, I get 120 plus 60 equals 180. And that's correct. So that's how you're going to solve those problems. When you have a straight line and another line shooting out from it. And I'm going to give you one angle, and you're going to have to determine that other angle based on knowing that this is 180 degrees. Okay? Here's the next one. Next example, we're going to use the right triangle. Excuse me, not the right triangle, the right angle. And it's going to look like this. Okay, now remember, this little box here is telling us that that is a right angle. From this line to this line is 90 degrees. Okay? Go back into our notes up at the top. Right angle, the little box, from one line to another, 90 degrees. So, this is the example I'm going to give you. I'm going to say, from this line to here, this angle right here is 45 degrees. So we need to figure out what this angle is. If this is 45 degrees, if I added this angle, I should get 90 degrees because this is a right angle. So in order to find out what this unknown angle is, we're going to say question mark plus 45 degrees, because I know if I added those two together, it'll give me a right angle, which is 90 degrees. So let's put in a variable in for the question mark. We'll say x plus 45 equals 90. We did the inverse operation. This is plus 45, so we're going to subtract 45 from each side of the equation. And I'm left with x equals 90 minus 45 is 45. So my unknown angle is 45 degrees. This little symbol means degrees. So if I plugged in 45 in for the question mark or the x, 45 plus 45 equals 90 degrees. So that's correct. Okay. One more thing I'm going to show you is we talked about straight line and a right angle, but now I want to talk about a triangle. I'm just gonna give you one little thing about triangles, and then because it kind of goes along with the lesson. So here's my triangle. Let's say this is angle A, and this angle is B, and this angle is C. Now remember, I'm just using variables. This can be any number, A can be any number, B can be any number, and C can be any number. So when I'm adding the angles up in a triangle, so I have angle A plus angle B plus angle C, they always equal 180 degrees. So no matter what A is, B is, or C is, added together, they always equal 180 degrees, no matter what kind of triangle you have. You can have a right triangle, you can have an obtuse triangle, I mean, so on and so forth. You can have any kind of triangle, but all the angles should always equal 180 degrees. So, let me give you a little example. Here's my triangle. I'm going to give you two angles. So let's say this angle here is 30 degrees. That's from here to here. It's 30 degrees. From here to here, this angle is 45 degrees. And I want you to find out what is that third angle. So we know that the three angles of a triangle equal 180 degrees. So I'm going to take 30 degrees plus 45 degrees plus question mark will equal 180 degrees, because 180 degrees is my triangle, all three angles. But I don't know what that third angle is, so that's what we're going to find out. So just like when we were doing the right angle and the straight line, we're going to use inverse operation. The only thing different is we have three different numbers. We have three different angles. So let's just start over here with 30. This is positive 30, so I'm just going to subtract 30 from both sides of my equation, because I ultimately want to get this question mark by itself. So when I subtract 30 from 30, I get 0, so I'm left with 45 degrees plus question mark equals 180 degrees, or 180 divided, subtracted. If we subtract 30 from 180, we get 150. So then we're going to do the same thing we did with the 30. We're going to subtract the 45 from both sides. And I'm going to be left with 150 minus 45 is 105. So my question mark, or my unknown angle, is 145. Let's go back and check that. Let's make sure that's correct. So we have 30 plus 45. 30 plus 45 is 75, plus 105. So I have 75 plus 105. That gives me 180. So this unknown angle here is 105 degrees. Now my triangle does not match up to the measurements. 105 degrees is a little bit bigger than a right triangle, but just for the sake of this example, 105 degrees would be a lot bigger. We would have an obtuse triangle here. But anyhow, that's how you get that third angle. You take the other two angles, and you're going to say this angle plus this angle equals question mark or plus x. So 30 plus 45 plus x equals 180. And in order to solve for that one angle, you just subtract those other two angles from 180, and you get that third angle. All right, so go ahead and complete the assignment. If you have any questions, come back to this lesson. And if you still have any more questions, feel free to message me. Have a great day. Bye-bye.